Well, is 42 too young to start hormone replacement? And of course, my question would be that all depends. Depends on how you feel, male, female. It is almost never too young to start optimizing hormones because we do it very differently for younger men and women. Men think, well, I need testosterone. Well, if you're in your late 30s or 40s, no, you don't. We need to do something to stimulate testosterone production. And we use things like clomiphene, HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, compounds that act like LH, luteinizing hormone in the body from the pituitary, which sends a stimulus to the testicles and says, hey, you guys need to make more. And so works extremely well for younger men. And I use it a lot on actually anyone under the age of 50. I use that first. If it doesn't respond, then sure, we move to testosterone. For women, we see many things happen at 42, in the 40s, a decade, let's say, before menopause. Testosterone declines, progesterone levels decline, we don't sleep, moody, irritable, weight gain, loss of muscle mass, libido changes. So the answer is absolutely. And we can't guess. And so the best way to do things is to contact us and let us order some blood work. We can send you to a LabCorp or Quest anywhere in the U.S. If you're in Mexico, you can go to our office in Cabo to get a blood test done, and we can see you down there once a month. So it's a pretty simple process and something I loved helping people to feel better. Hormone replacement is something that, again, is tailored for each individual differently for men and women, but can include all hormones, certainly after menopause when estradiol drops. And I say as women fall off the cliff, that's not a good thing. And so, yes, we use estradiol. Younger women, it's primarily testosterone and progesterone, sometimes very small amount of estradiol. But it's different for everyone. Use a lot of creams for testosterone, estradiol for older women. We use encapsulated forms because the cardioprotective effects are significantly better from oral capsules than transdermal. And we do pellet therapy for many. So if you can't remember to put it on at night, then we can put a little Tic Tac in under the skin that for women lasts 3 to 4 months. For men, it's 5 to 6 months if done correctly. And so you don't have to think about it. It's very simple, but it's all about getting to know the patient, their individual goals. Some people just want to be proactive about healthcare. And once they see the numbers and realize where they're at, and I think it's important to point out what can happen to us as we age and don't have adequate hormones, because as inflammation is inversely related to our hormone levels. As we optimize hormones, we suppress inflammation, which is, as most people know, the silent killer. And so it definitely is a proactive stance to balancing hormones, not only helping you feel your best when you don't feel well, but I have a lot of people that come see us and say, I want to do everything I can to live longer. I believe in this whole longevity thing. What do we need to do? And so, again, it's starting with some simple blood tests to sit down and look, see where things are, and then make a plan for that person to optimize their hormones, to optimize their health. Well, why can't we lose weight as we age is directly related to hormone levels, and specifically testosterone, human growth hormone levels. When you were in your 20s, everything was in the upper 80 or 90 percentile, if not 100% of those ranges. And then as we age, growth hormone rapidly declines. That's why there are a lot of people that just rave about how great they feel with peptides, because there are specific peptides to increase growth hormone levels. I firmly believe that you have to be tested first, that it's not wise to just start something not knowing where you're at, and then to try to get it to the upper limit of normal where you were in your 20s, which is 200 to 250. And so as we age and let's say testosterone declines, it affects muscle metabolism directly and very rapidly. And so we see significant improvements in strength. It results in the gym, less inflammation, better recovery time. People just feel better when their hormone levels are optimal. But that's the answer to that question is why can't I lose weight? Nothing's changed. Well, something has changed. Yeah, your hormone levels have taken a dive. And so as we restore that, you regain that sense of vitality and well-being that you took for granted every day as a 20 and 30-year-old. And now that as we reach our 40s and 50s, it's not so easy. We don't take it for granted. We wonder what happened. Where did that go? So it's something that I love working with. And I see younger men and women every week. I didn't used to see 30-year-olds. But when you think about all the endocrine disrupting chemicals, and if you don't know, just ask Dr. Chat GPT. Say, give me a list of endocrine disrupting chemicals. You will be shocked. And what is that in? You'll be shocked at the foods, the compounds we use every day, from cookware to utensils, things that definitely destroy our hormone levels. Well, women absolutely need testosterone. It's one of the first things I see. Women, after childbirth, sometimes things just don't reset. Let's say they're in their 30s, 40s, I've been married a little while and love my husband, but I could care less. I just don't want him to touch me. Well, I can assure you when we measure testosterone levels, it's extremely low. Sometimes free testosterone is zero. And I don't know anything good about a free testosterone zero. Certainly women do not need levels like men. It doesn't need to be 1,000. But surprisingly, it should be around 200 to 300 in order to get the free testosterone in a range of 2 to 4 nanograms, because most of it is bound to sex hormone binding globulin. And so, which is good to have more sex hormone binding globulin, and there are cardiovascular benefits to having higher levels, but it just means we need more testosterone to increase the free testosterone, what isn't bound to protein. And the results are usually fairly dramatic. Well, your sex drive disappearing, unfortunately, is a symptom of getting older with hormone decline. Do you have to accept that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is very important. It's not just sex drive. I saw a new patient yesterday, a guy, and we talked about some things. And he was a little older gentleman, but and he came in because his 49-year-old son is in another city is seeing someone for testosterone replacement. He's just raving about it. And this guy's in his early 70s. And he said, I just didn't know there was anything we could do. And his testosterone was extremely low. And I tried to explain that to him, the importance of increasing free testosterone, the effect on muscle metabolism, lipid metabolism, glucose metabolism, everything, just the engine works better when we have adequate testosterone. And it starts at a very young age now, and because of the environmental factors that we're exposed to. I feel for men, it's almost of epidemic proportions. I never used to see guys in their 30s. Now I have dozens in my practice and a small handful of guys in their 20s that just aren't making testosterone. And so it is something that needs to be tested and that we can do a lot about, that impacts long-term health in ways that we can only, hope for otherwise. So waking up in the morning feeling exhausted, like you didn't sleep, can be symptoms symptomatic of more than one condition. Certainly hormone balance is number one. Low progesterone levels, which happen decades before menopause, affect sleep quality. I saw a woman today. She said, "If I will love you if I can sleep, can we do this today? Can I take something tonight?" And so I said, yes. So I got a small supply of progesterone for her from a local pharmacy while I wait for the compounded version because it just tends to work a little better. But I said, sure, you can give me a hug next time you see me because I know that you're going to sleep like a baby tonight. And she's suffered for 7 or 8 years. But so with younger women, we need to do some blood work. And what needs to be done? You need all of your hormones tested. Obviously, blood count, chemistry panel, glucose, a 60-day glucose average, something called a hemoglobin A1C, because we see more and more adult onset diabetes. But hormones, progesterone, estradiol, free and total testosterone, DHEA, and growth hormone, which is IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor. And so then a plan can be made. And if you don't have someone in your area, reach out to us. We do telemedicine with people all over the world. And it's important to find someone that's an expert that deals with this all day, every day. And well-meaning providers are not all, they may be great at other things, but hormone therapy is one that's pretty low on the list. And so you just have to search out someone that's WorldLink certified, a member of the American Academy of Anti-Aging and Regenerative Medicine. There are several groups, Cenogenics Foundation, several that train physicians very well. And that if they're certified from any of those agencies, I happen to be certified by all three. And so, those are important factors in trying to select someone to help you with this, because your family doctor just, as nice a person as they may just not be up on this. Well, men, it's the same thing. I find it very interesting because low testosterone, again, is of almost epidemic proportions. But what I ask first with men and women is, do you snore? Because sleep apnea is grossly underdiagnosed or misdiagnosed. And so that's the number one cause of excessive daytime sleepiness is sleep apnea. So if you snore, do you wake yourself up? Do you startle yourself with a breath because you were actually holding your breath at night? It's number one cause that you only get once is sudden death. And so that usually gets people's attention. What do you mean? I said, hey, you get that once. And so, yes, I think you need a sleep study. And most family physicians or hospitals have either a sleep lab. There are now devices that can be shipped to you to treat at home that are accurate. They didn't used to be real good, but they are quite accurate now. And so ruling out sleep apnea is a big deal, and you don't have to be overweight to have sleep apnea. I've had it for 24 years. I weigh 180 pounds. I'm 5'9". So, you have to be obese to have sleep apnea. And so, but with men, I also see as testosterone declines, I see everything from poor sleep to panic attacks to mood disorder to just depression to that feeling of, it's 5 o'clock. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go play with the kids. I need the couch for a minute. And so, that's not the way life is meant to be lived. You need to be vibrant and energetic for your family that you love, obviously, or you wouldn't go to work every day. So, again, that would require testing, looking at things, and seeing someone knowledgeable who can help design a plan, irregardless of your age. So the easy thing to do is to just go to our website, aspen-regenerativemedicine.com, and click on contact us or call us. The number is 970-201-1332. We're all over Instagram, Facebook. There's always a way to get some information. You can listen to my podcast, Beyond the Fountain of Youth podcast on YouTube. We have the audio book, my book behind us. which is an Amazon bestseller, is also available as an ebook. And so you can listen to that through Audible. Just type in Beyond the Fountain of Youth and get a copy, learn a little bit. The more you know, the easier it'll be to have conversations with your doctor and ask them appropriate questions. And so I always tell people, be a student of this. This is your life. This is all that matters, is how you feel and how you interact with your family. I'm here to help, and contact us. We can send you to LabCorp or Quest anywhere in America, or our office in Cabo if you happen to be in Mexico, and we'll get back to you. It takes about a week to get the results, and then we can just do a 30-minute visit and figure things out and try to help you to recover your vitality.